This is the gospel according to the IRS, Breaking Points, and Church Financial Updates. And now, here's the authority, Dr. Michael Chitwood, and Breaking Points.
Today, we want to give you some breaking news, so grab a pad and a pen. We're ready to go with a full program today. You're going to be writing a lot, so I want you to take some good notes today, because what you're going to hear, it may be contrary to what you've been told. Let me ask you a question today, if I can. If you were taught something 20 years ago that was wrong, and you didn't know it was wrong, and if you were still doing what you were taught 20 years ago, that means if it was wrong then, you're wrong today. Remember, if you're wrong today, then you'll be wrong tomorrow. So therefore, it's important for us to change our core belief thinking, and that only comes through teaching. Remember that Proverbs says that wisdom is the principal thing. So grab a pad, breaking news, special bulletin alert. Letter of determination. Write that down, please. Letter of determination. That's my subject for Breaking Points today. You must have a letter of determination for your church and for all of your CDCs and EDCs. For those of you that were with me just a few days ago when we broke that special report on faith-based grants, you understand that you must be a 501c3 in order to qualify for this massive release of funds. And some of you, know what, are going to be left out, because you've always heard the church is cheap. The church sometimes is cheap when it comes to knowledge and power, because knowledge is power and power is knowledge, and it's not what you know that will hurt you. It's what you don't know. So number one, you must get a letter of determination. And that letter of determination is basically something that will carry out through the lifetime of your ministry as long as you stay in compliance. Now, number two, you need to get a federal ID number, and that comes on a form called a SS4. All you do is fill it out. You can fax it into the Internal Revenue Service, and you'll get that back. Number three, in order to get a letter of determination, you must file a 1023 form, which is the application for tax-exempt status and being recognized as a nonprofit organization. So you must have a 1023, which is the application, which gives you the right to apply, and then it gives you the letter of determination. The fourth thing is you must make sure that you're maintaining a double entry set of books, because you're required to have a balance sheet, a revenue and expense statement, and all of that is going to make your house of worship where that you can really go to the next level. Now, if you have those things in mind, if you have those things already in place, then you don't have to worry about it, except one thing, and that is very important. You must watch out for UBIT. Write this down, UBIT, U-B-I-T. Let me tell you what that stands for, Unrelated Business Income Tax. You must make sure that the church is not involved with any unrelated activities. Let me give you an example. One time I was called to Huntington, West Virginia. Beautiful little city and state up there. When I got up there at this church, I found out the church's tithes and offerings for one full year was $13,000. But they had other income that they would sell apple butter. They made apple butter. And boy, you talking about something that's really great tasting on homemade biscuits up there. In fact, they served them to us that day up there for breakfast. They had some homemade biscuits up there, and they served apple butter, and it was delicious. Their apple butter sales was over $100,000, but their tithes and offerings was only $13,000. Ladies and gentlemen, that would be considered unrelated business income. And therefore, you will be responsible for having to pay income tax on any unrelated business income. Write this code section down, 51112. I want you to examine that at some particular point as we go through this, because you must make sure that you're available not to know and use the word UBIT in your church. So when you get your letter of determination, you're making sure that you're getting your house in order. You're making sure that you're going to be approved for tax-exempt status. You've got a federal ID number. You've got a double entry set of books. Just make sure that you watch out for UBIT. The last thing that I want to give you that pertains to this is that you must make sure that what you stated in your application does not change. Because if what you stated in your application later on changes, guess what you have to do? You have to go back, notify the Internal Revenue Service, and tell them what you're going to do now that you didn't do and put in your application then. It's not hard, but it is a violation. Now, with all this in mind, the bottom line is simply this. The breaking news, the special bulletin alert, is you must get your letter of determination right now, because time is running out. The price is going way up. It used to be you could get it from the Internal Revenue Service, and they didn't even charge anything prior to 1986. after 1986, guess what? You have to pay what we call a user's fee to even send that application to the Internal Revenue Service. So get the application, get it sent in, and make sure that you have it filled out properly. I'm Michael Chitwood, and tomorrow you're going to hear a special story. Will the IRS consider deacons of the church clergy for housing allowance purposes? I'll see you tomorrow.
Breaking Points gives you the latest IRS updates and tax law. Pastor, if the IRS came to your church today, what would you say? If you really want your house of worship in order, call 1-800-345-9117.